It's actually a video response to rockboy680 1,000 subscribers contest. It's great, man. Congrats. His thread response is to pick a decade, 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s, and show your favorite album from each year of that decade. Of course, I picked the 60s. I'm actually going to show my favorite album, and I'm actually going to show a bunch of honorable mentions. Here we go. We're going to start with 1960. Elvis Presley's record, Elvis is Back. The Girl of My Best Friend is a really good song. Okay, 1961. Just went with this. Elvis Presley, Blue Hawaii. Cannot Falling in Love with You, which is a classic. Has Rockalula Baby, which is pretty good. Okay, 1962 is the Beach Boys' debut, Surfin' Safari. Really great ones like Surfin' Safari, 409. Okay, 1963. Of course, I'm going to show the Beatles. I picked Please Please Me. It was actually pretty hard. And I'll show some honorable mentions, of course, with the Beatles, which is a close second. Really great one. Got the Beach Boys, Surfing USA. This is probably my favorite Beach Boys album. Surfing USA, Farmer's Daughter. Has some really cool instrumentals as well. Surfer Girl by the Beach Boys. This one has a lot of great songs too. Surfer Girl, Catch a Wave, In My Room. And to close out 63. Of course, I had to show Bob Dylan's album, The Freewheelin' Bob Dylan. Still trying to get into Bob Dylan, but it has some great hits on here, like Blown in the Wind. I really like this song, Honey, Just Allow Me One More Chance. It's a really great, fun song. And I really like the cover there. Okay, 1964, I was kind of surprised, but I think I'm going to go with my favorite album of that year would be the Rolling Stones' debut, England's Newest Hitmakers. It's just a timeless sounding record here. It has like Not Fade Away, Route 66. Most of these are really great. Carol, which is a great cover. Honest I Do. Honorable mention, I just had to show this. Even though it's a U.S. record, Meet the Beatles, their best U.S. release. It's a classic. I love that it has I Saw Her Standing There, I Want to Hold Your Hand, and This Boy on this record. Even though it was recorded in 63, it's still a great 64 package. In the last 64 record, I'm mainly showing this for the hit song off of it. This is the Animals' debut. I'm mainly showing it because of House of Rising Sun. Such a classic song. Even though the version on here is a single version, which kind of sucks. Because it cut off like a minute and a half. Okay, right here we're getting in 1965. This is when music was really, really changing. And of course I had to show this as number one. Rubber Soul by the Beatles. Classic record. Every song on here is a masterpiece, basically. It has like Norwegian Wood, Nowhere Man, Think for Yourself, The Word, In My Life. Great album. It has some early psychedelia in there as well. Okay, here's some honorable mentions. I have the Zombies' first U.S. record. This was all recorded in 64, I think, but came out in early 65. They're pretty underrated. She's Not There, Tell Her No. Also a great song on here is I Don't Want to Know. Just a great band. Of course, the Byrds' debut album, Mr. Tambourine Man. This is really when folk rock got into the scene as like Mr. Tambourine Man. All I Really Want to Do. I just love this. It's the Charlie Brown Christmas soundtrack. Really jazzy Christmas album. Mainly instrumental. Just really great album. I love this. I believe it was recorded. I believe it was released in 65. It kind of gets confusing on all these information on this record. But I believe it was. But it's a classic. My version's actually on green vinyl. I highly recommend this to anyone. Okay, wow, we're getting into 1966, but I really don't have a lot of records to show. Of course, it's going to be the Beatles again with Revolver. Classic record here. Psychedelia. Tomorrow Never Knows. I'm Only Sleeping. Here, There, and Everywhere is a classic. Love You Too, which is a great song. Got to Get You in My Life. So this is a classic one here. Okay, and then some honorable mentions. I'm just going to show this because I feel like this deserves credit. For example, The Mothers of Invention, Freak Out. I haven't heard this entire record. I heard some of it. It's really, really interesting. This actually came out before Revolver, I think. And it's just really experimental, really ahead of its time. My last one, of course, I'm going to show Cream. This came out in late 66. Basically the true start of hard rock. The song Dreaming, which I love that song, which is mainly more of like a jazz rock type song. It's a classic. Okay, right here we're moving in 1967, which is probably my favorite year of music since I've grabbed the biggest stack over here. My favorite album from there kind of tosses, but it's hard to pick, but I'm just going with this one. It's Our Experience by Jimi Hendrix Experience. Such a classic record. Hard rock, psychedelia, blues, as Purple Haze, Manic Depression, Hey Joe, which was recorded in '66, but such a classic. The Wind Cries Mary Fire. Of course, a close second, which this is usually my favorite Hendrix album, Axis Bold as Love. Classic song, Axis Bold as Love, Castles Made of Sand, a Spanish Castle Magic. Here, this is a really underrated album. Most people probably don't really know this band, the Amboy Dukes. And these are honorable mentions, obviously. This is Ted Nugent's first band. He doesn't lead sing on a lot of their songs in the 60s. But he's a fantastic guitarist. They do a great version of Baby Please Don't Go. They have some great songs like Everybody Must Get Stoned. Great original on here is Down on Phillips Escalator. Just really hard rock, early heavy metal on here, man. It's like, I highly recommend trying to find any of their 60s recordings. Here, The Doors' first album, recorded in '66, man. This is a classic record here. Light My Fire, The End, Break On Through, Soul Kitchen, great. Here is, of course, The Doors' second album, Strange Days, great album. Okay, right here's a really underrated record, The Grateful Dead's debut. I'm not a big fan of them, but their debut album just really gets to me. I love this record. Okay, right here is another really, really underrated record by Eric Burton and the Animals, Winds of Change. Eric Burton really changed by 1967, but it has like Winds of Change, Poem by the Sea, their fantastic version of Painted Black, Anything. Great, great. Okay, right here, this is a compilation, but whatever, I'm just picking it. The Rolling Stones' Flowers. I love this. It's probably the best Rolling Stones songs for me. And my last one's, of course, Sgt. Pepper by the Beatles, obviously. I just want to show my Japanese one, but yeah, great record. Okay, right here's 1968. I was really surprised I didn't pull a lot of records. Here we go. This is probably my favorite record of all time, the Beatles' White Album. Has anything from hard rock to folk to lullaby to country to like music hall type stuff. Acoustic also. So, great record. And this is really a close second. This could be my other favorite album of all time. Odyssey and Arco by the Zombies. This was actually recorded in '67 though, but fucking love this record here. Every song on here is almost a classic. Of course, Time of the Season. Such a fantastic song. Really love it. This is definitely a classic record. Okay, and this one's a really great honorable mention. Pretty underrated. It's Eric Burton and the Animals, Every One of Us. It's not a perfect record, but it's kind of like the White Album by the Beatles before the White Album, because this came out before it, but it has many genres, even probably one of the earliest rap rock songs. It has You're the Guru, which Eric Burton's literally rapping. It kind of sounds like rap rock or hip-hop, honestly. And it has some really great songs. I don't know how to say the title, but it's the first song on side 2. Really great. It sounds like heavy metal on some parts of the songs, but it kind of like progresses and changes like to jazz rock and really hard blues. So yeah, this is a really, really interesting, great record. Highly recommend it. It was actually, I think, only a U.S. record. My last honorable mention for '68 is probably a dull choice, but I said to go with it. It was Magic Bus by The Who. It's a compilation of 66, 67 songs with a few 68 ones on here. I just really like the layout on here, like Disguises, Run, Run, Run. It has Magic Bus, of course, which I love that song. The Live at Leeds version's great, but I think I prefer the original, softer version, because it's just a fun classic. So there's 68. 1969, my favorite album, 69, is Led Zeppelin 2. Just had to pick that. This album's such a classic. They're really the heaviest band of the 60s. This is like a 1970s record, honestly. Awesome record. Every song on here is great. Okay, this was a close second. This is honorable mention. Their first album, which was recorded in '68. They're heavy, heavy blues, hard rock, proto-punk. Like Dazed and Confused, man. Communication Breakdown. Baby, I'm Gonna Leave You. So, this is actually an issue I have on red vinyl. Course, last honorable mention for '69 is the Beatles' Abbey Road. What can you say about this? This is a big change from Please Please Me 6 years earlier. Yeah, anyway, that was my thread response to rockboy680's 1,000 subs. So I hope you enjoy this. Check out his channel. So anyway, rock on.